Hey, good evening, Saints. Well, I'm just looking at the news here. I guess it's uh, kind of hard to miss this, but the riots that are going on here in Maryland, and uh, they're just going to bring in the National Guard now, and it'll be a martial law-like situation. And most people that are anticipating that something like this will spread now soon across the United States, and Ferguson maybe was a dry run, and who knows, but this appears to be on a large scale now, right? And so as this goes somewhere, it could be. Um, there's also some videos out there. Dabu 7 shows that crisis actors have been caught in the video footage for what's been going out here in Maryland. And if you haven't dug into that a little bit, these crisis actors, people hired to play roles during these, crisis situations, point to the fact that many of these situations are either, fueled by elements of the government or started by elements of the government. And, if you haven't looked into the Boston bombing crisis actor situation or the Sandy Hook crisis actor situation, and now this one and others, that might just feel like a stretch because it's playing on, Fox News, CNN, playing on all the news, and they're showing all these different helicopter angles of all this looting and burning going on and all that. So you might say, well, gee, I just don't think, is that possible? But not that these are directly tied, but I just wanted to show you guys something that I was looking at a little while ago. Another article out here mentioned this report as possibly being a template for how the U.S. is going about this strategy toward Iran. And this is, Brookings Institute puts out this stuff, and it sure seems like elements of what we're doing is in here. I'll leave a link down below so you can take a look. It's rather lengthy, but some of the things that are in here really remind me of what we're seeing, like in this situation, or if you want to see the arms control situation in Sandy Hook, or some of these other crisis situations that drive public policy or drive action on behalf of the government. And if you keep stepping these things back, there's a lot of now publicly available information about how did the U.S. actually get involved in, World War II and World War I, and what were the trigger events. And you go back and, these things roll hundreds and hundreds of years back. I mean, the wars in Europe in the Middle Ages, if you want to say, and you go back. So, the Bible tells us there's nothing new under the sun, and I guess I just want to point to the fact that this is a repeating pattern. What we're seeing here in the case of the Baltimore and the Maryland stuff, and the fact that, we're finding situations here with crisis actors where the same people are caught. I think it was a woman getting her purse stolen in one frame. The exact same woman with the same dress is caught in another frame with a chair being thrown. And, what's the odds that, the same person on the same day in the same getup is involved in two major portions of a news story where they catch her in two completely different situations? Well, kind of points to the fact that it's being manufactured to me. So I'll leave you with that, but I just think, Saints, that this points toward, the hand of, unfortunately, the hand of the devil. I mean, he's a liar and the father of lies, and to me, I can't look at any of these situations anymore without just thinking, yep, we've got elements, governmental elements, if you want to say, or take a step higher, the NWO elements generating these things. And now if it follows the pattern, now this Brookings deal where they're talking about what's our strategy with Iran, they look at 5 or 6 different scenarios and what the likely response would be and who would join in and what are the potential outcomes and the pros and cons. So it's fairly lengthy. But in here they talk specifically about going in and starting a popular uprising against the government in Iran. And it's just laid right out that it would be something that would get initiated. And these type of situations play on the fact that there's some natural tension or division there anyways. And so, in the case of Iran, it was the mullahs and the clerics being staunch Islamists and the populace not matching the depth and the fever around that Islamic approach that they take, and many now becoming Christian, we know that. And so you get a natural division sitting there, and then according to this report, the strategy is go in and trigger an event, start something, and try and get a popular uprising to cause, in this case, it would be a government overthrow in Iran. But look again, I mean, Kiev, President Obama actually tried to take credit for orchestrating the change in the government there. And, you can agree with the policy, you don't have to agree with the policy, but if you look at followed the same kind of thing as, the instigated popular uprising along with an instigated strife. They showed in several videos the source of some of the shooting of the civilians coming from the same place as what was shooting the police. And, so the strife was being instigated, I guess is what you can read into that. And drawing a sharp division, now what do we see? We see the east side of Ukraine that has a high density of Russian, former Soviet Union affiliated people fighting or being pitted against, that would be a better word, the western side. And all of that probably being some pretext to cause Russia to come down and overrun Ukraine. And who knows how far that goes, but then that leads into potentially the War of Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38 and 39, where Russia comes down. Now, if you go south out of Russia and you follow that through, you run into Turkey, you run into Iran, and those nations are in league in the Gog-Magog war. So you can see how these things are, the storyline is getting supported or instigated. Now, I'm not saying that Satan's trying to follow or make biblical prophecy come true, but you can see how God is orchestrating things where Satan wants to kill all the humans on earth. You got the Georgia Guidestones as your way of seeing some of that. So he's trying to cause major division and major wars. He's pitting east against west ideologies. If you go all the way back to the Masonic writings that Albert Pike did, he talked about the 3 world wars, and the third one appears to be coming. And so, Satan's got his plan. He's trying to orchestrate stuff. It just, God's got him outmatched and outnumbered, and has pre-written the history for us. But we can see these things where you have these lies and deceptions to instigate something here or here. You can see that there's a follow through that, Satan's trying to get his plan to come to fruition, but we know the broader context is it's actually part of God's plan, and he's just using Satan to that end. So saints, I guess my point is this, is if you're sitting there watching a lot of the news and the TV and you see all this rioting going on and all that, you know, think once, think twice about whether the cause and the ongoing uh, uh, fomenting of this is not something being orchestrated and taking advantage of natural divisions that are already there. Now, real people are getting hurt in a riot, I'm sure of it. I'm just saying it wasn't all spontaneous based on the death of that Freddie Gray gentleman. So, think through how much time you spend staring at that stuff or talking about it to friends, because you'd be playing into what they're trying to cause happen is have it feel like panic, like the United States is falling apart, and so we need martial law to control things. I'm sure they're shooting for the fact that this would play into other cities and that they could broaden the scope of this thing, just like they tried to broaden Ferguson and replayed it 2, 3 times. Now all of a sudden they're doing it on a bigger scale in Baltimore. So be careful with friends and family, I guess would be my advice. I know this isn't a super biblical video. Usually I do very scripturally oriented videos, but this one just bugged me because I was sitting at a restaurant tonight. They had the TV blaring, and I just think in my mind, this is just orchestrated baloney. And again, real people are getting hurt by this, and real damage is occurring, but it's orchestrated. And I get righteous anger, if you want to say it's Satan, because you can just see his hand in strife, grief, death of people, all this. You can see what's behind this, and we know there's going to be, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. This thing's going to keep building, whether it's off of this event or not, who knows, but it's going to keep building. Strife is till the whole world is engulfed in torment and wars and whatever. So saints, just keep looking up, and don't feed into the rumoring. Don't feed into what Satan's trying to do here. God bless you, and hope to see you in the next one.